Jermaine Burton, third-round pick, 80th overall by the Cincinnati Bengals.
He doesn't have enough snaps, not because he can't play, because he's standing in his way. He maybe did not handle college life the best way, and he is not necessarily handling his NFL transition in the way that you will hope a young rookie. This is your chance. Are you paying attention? Are you asleep in class?
He was asleep in class, Steve.
Several times I hear, but that's for you to tell, not for me.
All right, another 89 rookie report card as we break down these rookie wide receivers. Jermaine Burton, third-round pick, 80th overall by the Cincinnati Bengals. We're doing this heading into Week 16 right now. 4 catches in 107 yards on the season. That is essentially a quarter sometimes for his teammate Ja'Marr Chase. But that is what he's done in the 12 games that he's played with one start. He's also returned kicks for them. He's been kind of the deep threat that they think he can be. A couple of his catches are on those go balls down the field. But as a whole, he's had a hard time getting on the field. I kind of just want to run through this, Steve, as like I mentioned, these games. 4 snaps, 10 snaps, 3, 4, 1, 3. There's a stretch there, and I'm going to get to this in a little bit when T. Higgins goes down, where he plays 24, 39, and 18 offensive snaps, and then back to 2, 9, 3. Essentially, he has not gotten on the field for the Cincinnati Bengals all that much on this offense for a variety of reasons. We'll get into them. But your initial take on Jermaine Burton right now before I get into the other parts of the information I've gathered from around the league.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one for me because what we're hearing and what we're seeing is a little bit of confirmation of what we heard coming out of the pre-draft. Understanding that he maybe did not handle college life the best way, and he is not necessarily handling his NFL transition in the way that you will hope a young rookie. He doesn't have enough snaps, not because he can't play, because he's standing in his way by some of the things he's doing. And what do I mean by that is, one, his receivers coach was a hell of a route runner. I'm talking about ridiculous. Troy Walters ran some routes in college. Man, I used to bro, who is that?
Yeah.
Just route after route. But one of the things coming out of college that I said with Jermaine Burton that a lot of people thought was a little bit harsh was, I thought he really did not have a lot to his route tree. He's super fast, but he doesn't have the savviness that you need. And one of the things that I've noticed with a type of player like Jermaine Burton that can be problematic for him, in Zach Taylor's offense, if you do not have the savviness in your route running, you can disappear in a game plan. And here's why. Here's a deeper dive in how you could disappear. You disappear too because your quarterback does not have the patience because of their offensive line to wait for you to win. If you don't win immediately or give your quarterback the point of view that if he's going to throw you a back shoulder, that you've actually gotten outside at the head of the upper shoulder to be able to swipe him and come back, then your quarterback's like, nope, he's not in position. He's even. A back shoulder is supposed to be adjacent, not even. Because even means that you have to, I have to believe that you're strong enough to push him by. But when you're adjacent, I could just get skinny, get funky, and do that. So let's get into these routes right now. I use 2 tapes, Kansas City and Los Angeles Chargers, because Los Angeles Chargers, while I'm evaluating with the Los Angeles Chargers, he's playing against 2 fifth-round draft picks who were playing in college with him. And I don't always think it's fair that you can judge a rookie playing a veteran.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to grade a kid based on him going another kid. And he's going against 2 guys that he was just playing against.
Okay.
Here's one of the big things, too. When you're on offense with Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, you're not getting looked at too many times. So right here, he's up top going in motion, utilizing his speed. They're going to have him float out there, just showing good release, goes inside. I would like him to get back outside a little bit, save him some room, but I understand what they're running. They're running more of a what they call a sail route, kind of clearing it out for Ja'Marr Chase, decoy Leroy. So it'd be okay. That's what rookies get to do.
Steve, real quick off of that, though, just say this point to everybody, because what everybody's going to assume and think is you have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you're going to be in a situation where the other two are demanding so much coverage or double coverage or attention or whatever it is. You should be in a very beneficial spot to make a catch. But you mentioned the adverse side of that. These other two demand a lot of looks. The offensive line's not protecting Joe Burrow all that well. By the time Joe gets to you, you may be open at times, but even in your advantage that you have in terms of the coverage that's going the other way, it oftentimes also the ball has a hard time finding you, right? Because of the rest of the offense. Okay.
But also too, if you're not locked in as a young man to understand that, hey, I get to learn from these guys, and sometimes not everybody teaches by teaching you or walking you through. Some guys teach you by you sitting in a meeting room and you just observe and notice. And pay attention and use a little common sense of like, man, this guy Jamar Chase is running these routes. Hey, why'd you run that route like that? Ask questions. This is a great opportunity. Everybody knows T. Higgins is leaving. So if T. Higgins is leaving, bro, this is a chance to look, Brown knows, bro. Bring the substitute teacher and the fill-in teacher. Bring them apples every day.
Apples? I'm washing Joe Burrow's car. I'm the new security guard outside of Joe Burrow's house. I'm driving him to and from the facility, Steve. I'm hanging out with Joe Burrow every chance I get if I'm Jermaine Burton.
Right? Or listen to what the coach is coaching up Jamar on, because you may be put in that situation. T. Higgins got hurt for 4 or 5 games. Well, this is your chance. Are you paying attention? Are you sleeping in class?
He was asleep in class, Steve.
Several times I hear, but that's for you to tell, not for me. Down here at the bottom, here's a play that I love. Goes inside. Remember I told you I would like to see him go back outside?
Yep.
Nice throw. The only thing, though, he's looking back way too early. And when you look back, that kind of slows you down. But the throw is also underthrown as well. Look at the corner leaning forward like he's trying to place in the Olympics and he's going through the finish line. That's because when you are just trying to keep up, this kid can run all day, has some good releases, but he's not the first option. In here, Joe Burrow looks at him, sees him, he wins. It's a great job. So he goes in motion. They say, hey, we're going to isolate and get our speed guy on his guy. We think he could beat him. But what he does, I think he needs some improvement on, he keeps looking back for the football. When you look back for the football, that slows you down. Now, I'm also showing you this is whether he wins or loses, Joe Burrow is not looking his way. And so he has to be patient. However, he gives a little bit, and that corner, because of the fear of the speed, that corner is all trigger happy. He's ready to grab. Look how he goes. And so I'm using this tape to show you that this kid can build on top of his game if he locks it in, utilizes his speed, but creates a little savviness and a good route running so he can add himself into this offense and not subtract himself because he doesn't get open or he runs a different or wrong angle according to what the specifications of the quarterback, what he likes. This is a good play because it gives him a little wiggle, but it gives him his speed and shows automatically that his quarterback recognizes and trusts that this young man can out-leverage the corner. Ball's thrown a little bit high, but I love you talking about, we were talking about some other quarterbacks where they're good in the red zone, bad in the red zone is because recognizing how things happen so fast.
Yep.
This is an off-the-mark throw. However, it's an on-time thought that the middle of the field is open. I know what my receiver is doing. I'm going to give my receiver the best opportunity to catch the football by throwing it early and allowing him to adjust. Mm-hmm. And he runs that route. So I love that Joe Burrow is saying, hey, if we could get this going, he's a kid that we could depend on. But he has to tighten up a little bit of things outside of the workplace that I think is kind of slowing him down and minimizing and taking away a lot of his snaps. So for me, his route running, I give him an NS, not enough snaps.
That's on a lot of report cards.
Catching, NS, potential.
My potential grade, honestly, is a B because the potential of his situation is really good. We'll get to the part whether he makes the most of it. But the potential that he has in 2025, and I'm saying that is in the potential for him to take a big jump, sets up nicely for him. That's where the B comes from, because it's T. Higgins is probably out the door. You just said it. And you could be the complement to Jamar Chase, who many believe is the best receiver in this league. You have an opportunity in this setup because you've blown some chances already. The potential is a high grade, like a B, because you're with an organization that has a reputation for giving guys multiple shots, for doing things off the field incorrectly. The Cincinnati Bengals have a reputation for you can make mistakes like Jermaine Burton's made multiple times before they pass on you. I think that's actually a positive for him as he continues to try to grow up and be more mature, because you're with an organization that has a reputation for patience in this. So that helps him in his potential. And because he is in a spot with a good position coach, because you and I both know who his wide receiver coach is in Troy Walters. So, like, I think all of that comes together into maybe there is potential for 2025. But the issue, making the most of that B grade, is in the maturity grade. I think you have to give him a D, because there was enough information out there about your off the field or maturity issues heading into the NFL. From my gathering of people inside and outside that building, he hasn't done anything to change that perception yet. So he had an opportunity. You change, locations. You got a new group of people that you're around. Can you change their perception of you? That hasn't happened. And to me, if you want to make the most of your potential grade, your maturity grade has to be higher, because I went back and watched Joe Burrow's press conference that week where T. Higgins is out, and a big part of the game plan is going to be for Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, take the next step. He played great last week.
Joe Burrow goes out there and stumps for him like crazy. I trust him. He's grown. Maybe everybody doesn't know him the way we know him, all this stuff. And what happens? He doesn't just no-show for a walkthrough. Nobody can get a hold of him on a Saturday walkthrough. That portion of the game plan needs to be ripped up the day before the game, and he has to be inactive for it. To me, Steve, if you had an opportunity, and I'll put this on you, you're sitting there, and I mentioned all the snaps. He does not have a single number on the stat sheet up until that middle portion of the season where he has an opportunity. And you know you're going to be a big part of the game plan. How do you not show up for the walkthrough when this is my shot? Here's the deal, people. All season long, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Only on Underdog. Pick higher or lower on your favorite player, and you can join the millions of fans winning millions this season. Sign up today using promo code UD89, and you'll get a free pick as part of your first cash entry, plus $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, promo code UD89 to cash in on every touchdown this season, only on Underdog. How do you not show up for the walkthrough when this is my shot?
Well, that's when you knee deep in some things that just have your attention that you seem that's more important. I hate to say it that way, but we all have demons. We all have things that we made mistakes on, that we've done things, but we also got to call a spade, man. That's just not thinking clearly, man. Just being young.
Exactly. I think that's why this grade is there, but the other grade is in his favor, because he has time in this organization to correct some of these things.
And that's
up to him. Yeah, up to him if he does them, which would be.
Hey, listen, when you're young, time is on your hands. When you're older, time becomes your enemy, because you can't do it over. There's no there's no reset. There's no turn off the power, reset, and you could do it all over again. That video game life doesn't exist anymore. You turn 45, you can't be making 20-year-old mistakes.
Exactly. And that's a great point, because when I talked to coaches that went against him this year, they're like, you put on the film, he's very talented. There is talent there. I didn't talk to a single person that said there's no talent there at all.
They don't question his talent. They question his decision-making.
That's a perfect way to put it. He can be a deep threat. He can be a part of this offense. He can definitely have a role. Because, Steve, what goes into that potential? I keep talking about 2025 because, as we talk about school grades, it's not like – it seems like we're in a position where let's not just have Jermaine Burton be in charge of his offseason. Let's send him to summer school and have the entire organization be a part of, let's make sure we get this right. Let's make sure we go to summer school, make sure we're good for 2025, make sure we're good for training camp with Joe Burrow when our role might be increased. Because what we've seen from him in its totality is there's a hard time getting on the field. You got players talking about him after the game, Mike Hilton and company saying,
when you get to this point in your career, you got to grow up. You know what I mean?
Your teammates calling you out. There's a lot of things that need to be changed.
That's tough love, though.
Hopefully that tough love works, right?
Love. Yeah. That's tough love. Saying, hey, we're disappointed, but we still got your back.
Exactly. Right. And that's the way, from what I've understood, the way that receiver room has worked. And so hopefully all this comes together. You get that summer school going, and we have the potential for a 2025 season that looks dramatically different. Real quick, I want to ask you this, Steve, because I do think in this league we write people off very, very quickly. There's not a lot of patience in the NFL. I know that you've been around guys where it didn't start right, and then things change.
I've been around a guy. I've been around a guy my whole life didn't start off right.
That's
right. You talk about summer school, man. I went to multiple times. I went to summer school. It's really, I was.
What has to happen to make that click? It's got to be you decide.
You, right? All the people around you are going to tell you what you need to do, but you don't believe and trust those people because your point of view is so skewed and everybody's against me. But understanding they're not against you, they're for you. But you just done some things. They are talking to you based off your potential. They're not talking to you based off how you see yourself today. They see you as this. You are operating this way.
Yep.
And that's where the yin and the yang start to go. That's where bumping heads, because they're looking at, man, we drafted you in this round. You slipped in this round because of these things that we're referring to. Why are you not understanding that we want you here, but we don't want you here if you're going to continue to make yourself unavailable by doing things that are self-inflicting wounds? This is a young man who was at Georgia. Mm-hmm. This is a young man who kind of did some of the same things at Alabama. Mm-hmm. And now he's doing it in Cincinnati. I'm not saying get rid of him.
No.
Man, you got to grow up and understand this is a profession. They're giving. I tell kids this all the time. You get to play in the National Football League. You get to get paid millions of dollars to sleep well at night versus the things. You got to do some illegal things in the real world to make this kind of money, but you'll have to sleep with one eye open. To make this kind of money, to make $300,000-$400,000 on a Sunday in one check after taxes, you got to be doing some illegal. You got to be having some kilos in your trunk and driving down some highways. So don't mess this up, bro. Don't mess this up.